What's up? What's up? I'm in here, so we're gonna do a live chat tonight. We're not gonna take it too serious because this isn't the hour or the time to be educational about this topic. But I do want to share the topic tonight with you, the thoughts on my mind, and give me a second. I'm going to basically be doing my thoughts on Brother Polight and all pedophiles. Now, my disclaimer to this video is that I am not I'm not here to bash Brother Polight. And if you don't know who Brother Polight is, go look up the name Brother Polight on YouTube or Google, whatever, and you will discover who Brother Polight is. Now, this is not my normal topic. It's really not. But I will break down the psychology on a Brother Polight, or not Brother Polight, but the psychology on pedophiles. Okay? And so I am here only to share my holistic analysis, my perspective and analysis on the psychology behind people who are predators and prey on younger people. Okay? Sorry, y'all, I don't have my tripod with me like I normally do. I must have left it. So I have to improvise, y'all. Y'all have to bear with me. I got to improvise tonight. I have to improvise. So I'm going to do my best to improvise. This light is hurting my eyes, too. This light is definitely hurting my eyes. Okay. I'm telling you, I'm trying to improvise right now. Okay. So, work with me. I'm a little crooked. Work with me. Work with me. Work with me. Let me see if I can get this light to give me another look. That other light hurt. That other light is hurting my eyes. And good evening, family, to my Ghadbody warriors, tribe members, and my fellow ladies and gentlemen out there. Today, tonight, tomorrow, this video will be here. For those of you who will not be able to catch it live right now, that's cool. I'm not here to be Mr. Teacher today, or educational, or enlighten you on the ramifications around the normal things I teach and talk about. Today is not that video. Today is a video just breaking down the psychology and giving my holistic perspective on people who are predators of young people. pedophiles. Let's just call them like they are. Thank you for joining. If you don't know who Brother Polight is, I would suggest that you go look him up. Find out who he is. Get the whole story on Brother Polight. Now, I'll give you some background on Brother Polight. Let's just go deep into it, okay? Okay. So, I have to do something about this light. It's killing me. Okay, maybe that'll work. That'll work. Let me try that. Sorry, y'all. I got to be somewhere in it. That thing is hurting my eyes. Okay, so to break down a simple analysis of who Brother Polight is, I'm going to give you the background. Stay with me. 2016, there was a giant shift in consciousness inside the minds of black people across this nation. And I'm going to tell you why that shift happened. That shift happened because for too long we had been indoctrinated with the Christian mindset. We had been believing for a long time. I'm not speaking of all black people, but I'm speaking of at least 75% of the people. We had been believing, raised on the dogma and the indoctrination of the Bible. Now, the Bible is, the book, the holy book. And we as a people, black people, have been trapped inside of the mind of our Savior being Jesus Christ. This was what we mostly was raised on. And I seen within myself and others a giant shift in 2016 that happened in the consciousness of black people. That means, to give you the simple terminology of all of that, black people had an awakening. I'm not speaking of whites. Whites may have an awakening. I'm speaking of black people. Black people had a huge awakening, a giant awakening in their consciousness. They woke up from the sleeping pill that they had been taking for the majority of their life due to the church being raised in the church and the church raising us up in the doctrine of the Holy Bible. Okay. Now, in that shift, that awakening made room. There was a space, a void, a gap that needed to be filled. Black people began to look and search for someone other than a pastor, a minister, a priest, a preacher, a bishop to lead us to the promised land, the land of our self. We needed to discover who we truly were. We needed to discover who we were, who we are, where we come from. And so in 2016, a giant shift happened. The void that was left because black people left the church, I being one of them. I came up in the church. I won't say I was raised, but I came up in the church, meaning I found religion later on in my life. I found religion at about 22 years old when I lost my son in 2006. So I believe I was 22 or 23. In 2006, I found religion, God, the Bible, Christianity, the church. And in 2016, a huge awakening happened. Most people that I know felt this shift. Because I seen black people coming out of that stupor, that mindset that was like, I was in a coma. We were all in a coma that we woke up from. 2016. The void. There was a void that was needing to be filled. And that void got filled by who we call conscious black leaders. That void got filled by who we call conscious black teachers. Now, have there always been conscious black teachers around since forever? Yes. Dr. Sebi, Dick Gregory, Malcolm X, Louis Farrakhan. All of these teachers been around for decades. So we It's not new. Gil Scott Heron, a musician and poet. Angela Davis. You understand? The list goes on. You know, we can go to the Black Panther Party leaders. The list goes on. So have there always been conscious black leaders? Dr. Ben, you know Dr. Ben, who was always teaching with Dr. Henry Clark. Dr. Ben Youssef, I believe was his last name, Youssef. Dr. Ben Yakinen Youssef. So, Dr. Henry Clark, Amos Wilson, who else? Bobby Hemmett. The list goes on. We are not talking about there have not been conscious black teachers around for decades, because they've been here all along amongst us. But what happened in the new era, in the new age, in the age of Aquarius, what happened was a flood of new age conscious black teachers coming into the space to fill the void of those leaders who were getting killed, being jailed, being hushed, being silenced by the government, being censored. You know what I'm saying? So with all of that censorship, the silencing and the assassinations of our conscious black teachers, there left a gap or a void that gave us a span of about 15 to 20, I would say 15 years of black people just being led like sheep and cattle into the slaughter of indoctrination. And so we started to go to sleep again when our teachers were literally put down. When our teachers were put down, we went back to sleep because of the indoctrination of religion. So we started to join the Nation of Islam. We started to join groups like the Hebrew Israelites. We started to join groups like the 5 Percenters. We started to join groups like, you know, all types of, you know, the new age Black Panther Party and the new Black Panther Party. We started to join. Did I say the Nation of Islam? I think I did. So we started to join all these other religions and sects, not sex, S-E-X, but sectors of society that would keep us in the space of remembering who we were. I joined, when I came out of Christianity, I joined this group and organization locally here in my city called the African People's Socialist Party, which is called the Uhuru Movement. I was a member of the Uhuru Movement in 2016. I joined them. They were a conscious black group in my city that were speaking and preaching and waking black people up. Okay? They were, not to talk bad about the group, I love the group still, but I don't work for them anymore. But they're kind of stuck in a Black Panther Party era. They're stuck in the era of Black Panther Party. They're stuck in the age in the 70s. They're still stuck in that era, the 80s. They're still stuck in that time. So they're left a gap for about 15 to 20 years of us just joining organizations and religions and so-called, you know, abstract cultures or abstract, what would you call them? Tribes or abstract organizations. Abstract organizations of religion, meaning apart from religion, but they're still kind of like indoctrinating organizations because they're indoctrinating you with their theory of belief. You understand? And so what happened was when everybody started to just say, to hell with all of these organizations, there left a gap, there left a space. Okay? There left a space. Let me stop sharing so you can see me. So there left a space of black people trying to find who they are, or who they were, trying to discover, looking for a leader, quote unquote, saviors, looking for saviors, right? And so here we are looking for saviors, not knowing we're our own savior. Okay? If y'all can hear some humming, that's my son in the background singing. He in his bed singing, trying to put himself to sleep. Anyhow. There left a space, a void of black people searching for themselves, but we were finding ourselves through these teachers. In the new era, the new age came along. 2016 ushered in a new age, in the new era of conscious black teachers, conscious leaders, conscious speakers, conscious, self-aware, motivational talking people, speakers, okay? And so we started to find these teachers online and feel good about these teachers online. And, MJ, you all right? Okay. And so, with the finding these teachers, we found these teachers. We discovered who they were. Okay? We listened to them. We picked up on the knowledge. They became exactly what we ran from. They became exactly what we ran from. They became the pastors. They became the New Age pastors. They became the New Age Farrakhan's. They became the New Age, I don't want to say cult leaders, but the New Age organizing leaders. They wanted to organize you to gather together and follow behind them and show up to their teachings and lectures and all this other stuff. And so these speakers started to become the New Age pastors, the black conscious pastors of our day and our time, the new era. So they became the New Age leaders. Okay? With that being said, they did exactly what we ran from. They took money. They said, donate. They said, give. They said, show up. Come to our lectures, our seminars. And they took your money at the door. They sold you a t-shirt and a book. And you went away knowing a little bit more about, yourself, a little bit more about your history. But long gone are the days of righteous teachers. Righteous teachers versus conscious. Because right now what we're having is, and I did a video on this, the conscious community has fell back asleep. And I did a video on the conscious community falling back asleep. So we can't be looking for now conscious teachers. We got to be looking for righteous teachers. And the righteous teachers are amongst us. But the conscious teachers are still keeping you asleep now, because long gone are the days of the Malcolm X, a righteous teacher. Long gone are the days of a Dick Gregory, a Dr. Sabi, righteous teachers. Long gone are those days. They're not here amongst us anymore. They're gone. And we miss them dearly. We had Dick Gregory with us. We had Dr. Sabi with us. So we got to see a glimpse of these guys operate within while we were alive. We got to see them, and we got to see what righteous teaching looked like. And so now you have on the internet a flood of conscious teachers, not righteous teachers, conscious teachers. Righteous teachers were doing the thing that were right by their race, right by their culture, right by their people. They did the thing that was right. And it wasn't about money. It was just giving you the information. They did the right thing. The right thing is give you the information and allow you to make a decision to join and come and be amongst or with or partake in what we are doing. Okay. And so this video, for those of you just joining, is about my thoughts on Brother Polight and all pedophiles. Now, this video is not about bashing Brother Polight, because I don't know if the man is guilty or not, although they have a report on him that says this and that and the third about him. But this is not a video about bashing Brother Polight. This video is simply about giving you the psychology behind, because I'm in the space of calling myself a righteous teacher. I feel that I am a righteous teacher. I come and give you the information on how to live. I come and give you the information on what to eat. You know, my 5 laws that I speak about is meditation, fitness, meditation, fitness, nature, nutrition, and arts. Those laws are principles that I live by, that I offer to you, that if you tap into these 5 things, you will awaken a lot within yourself on a spiritual, mental, emotional, physiological, and biological level. These things coexist together. The 5 laws and the 5 internal states of well-being. I teach those principles. I teach those laws and I teach those principles so that you are getting an integration of the physical version of you meeting the spiritual version of you, the metaphysical version of you, the physical version of you meeting the spiritual version of you. And so I teach those 5 laws so that you can integrate that with the 5 states of internal wellness or internal well-being, and you can start to elevate and awaken DNA within yourself, consciousness, and all of that stuff within yourself. That's another topic for another video, for another day, and we will do that. But I must break down to you when I say that I consider myself a righteous teacher, because I give you the information on how to heal yourself. This light is still bugging me. On how to heal yourself from, and I relate information to you about the stuff you eat, about the way you think, about the way you feel, about the way you why you're sick, and about the way you're conveying your messages or your words, the way you're communicating. I come give you those things so that you wake up from the sleeping pill that you're taking from people who are keeping you asleep with doctrine that only leads you more to them. That only leads you more to them. All you're doing is being led toward them more and more and more. So I teach you how to awaken within yourself so that you yourself are guided by you yourself and have an awakening of you yourself. And what I do is I host retreats and events that if you desire to join, you can join. But it's not me. I'm not forcing your hand. And so what happens is a lot of people came into this space, and we can name them, but we're not talking about all of those. We're just talking about, we could talk about the New Age. You know what? I'll name them. We could talk about the New Age conscious teachers. Number 1, we start with Brother Polight, Dr. Umar, Yada, Young Pharaoh, Sarah Sutanseti, Cesariak, Sanetta, all these people on the internet, Nature Boy, all these people on the internet proclaiming to be the Messiah or the messenger or the guru or the way, proclaiming to be the way. These people are selling you only on themselves so that you stay hooked to them. And then they send you, the links to how you can pay them to keep doing the mess they're doing. What has this video got to do with Brother Polight? And that's what the video is about, Brother Polight. It's about the psychology, because I consider myself a righteous teacher. And when I say a righteous teacher, I just mean I do a lot of stuff that I don't ask you for nothing for. In my public life, outside of this platform, these social media platforms, and in my private life, I do a lot of work that I do not ask you nothing for. I just give it. I give a lot. I give more than I get. I give more away than I get. And to me, it's not about what I'm getting. It's about, am I doing what's righteous? But more importantly, am I doing what's natural? Because A tree, again, an apple tree produces apples for free. You don't have to. We shouldn't have to pay to go and get apples off the tree. Nature gives us food for free. And I always talk about giving you a natural, holistic perspective. And if I'm going to give you a natural, holistic perspective, then I got to give you what I'm giving to you for free. Now, I'll put my Cash App down there and ask you to donate if you desire. While we talking about that, So what I'm here to do is help you understand the psychology. Now let's get deeper into this. Brother Polight is one of those teachers that came into the space, already kind of like been doing it, and so he say, but I've been following the conscious, what we call, there's a thing called the Black Conscious Community, and I've been following the conscious community since 2016, where I discovered all of these guys, Polight, Dr. Umar, the New Age ones, right? The New Age ones, Young Pharaoh, Seti, and whoever else. I discovered these Black Conscious Community teachers. 2016. And I started to go down the rabbit hole of picking up the knowledge they was dropping. Some was speaking science. Some was speaking spirituality. Some was speaking Africanality. I call it Africanality. Some was speaking Afrocentric, about who we were on a black perspective. Some was speaking about, the holistics, like a Sabi. Some was speaking about all these different, the herbs. Some was speaking. Everyone had their own little way of speaking, right? Everyone had their own little way of how they spoke. They talked. Now, Brother Polight had always had allegations against him for being a con artist, a scammer, for being a I don't want to say this, but I gotta say it because it's not my words, but for being dealing with young girls or a younger girl. There was always some type of allegation out there about this brother dealing with a young girl, like some girl that got kidnapped or he allowed to run away. He let this little girl run away. He let this little girl run away from her mother and come to him. So he always had some iffiness about what he was doing behind the scenes that we all didn't know about. And I'm not here to speculate because I don't know Brother Polight personally. And I'm not here to speculate from the internet perspective either, because I don't want to pass judgment on anybody that I don't know like that and say he is a pedophile or he's not a pedophile. I don't want to speculate. That's for the courts to deal with. That's for the judges to deal with. And that's between Brother Polight, that girl, her mama, and the system that he's involved with. And whether he did it or not, justice is going to, the judge, the courts will decide that. The courts will decide that. You understand? So I'm not here to play judge, jury, and executioner on Brother Polight. Not here to do that. I'm only here to call out the psychology behind the mindset of pedophiles and how they operate. So allow me. Men, and I don't want to say men because there's women pedophiles too, but the men that become pedophiles, the men, I'm going to say it again, the men that become pedophiles are not the type of men that you would think. Let me go off, run down the list for you. The type of men that become pedophiles are not the type of men you think. The type of men you think that become pedophiles is old, creepy uncles. You think Catholic priests. You think you know the you think like the one that's spinning, you know, the little the stranger always coming around the corner, peeping Tom guy, looking at your kids at the park. Okay, those guys may be the ones that's obvious. But the ones that are not obvious, the ones that we don't think become pedophiles, are the ones that are seen with all the pretty women, the ones that are seen with all the nice things, all the money, all the flashiness about themselves, the pedophiles and rapists, whatever you want to say. He was accused of rape. So it's not necessarily a pedophile, because pedophile do with children, but she's a child. She's 14 years old, but he's been accused of rape. So the type of men that become, again, pedophiles are those who are known to be seen with a lot of women, known to be seen with all of the name, you know, I don't want to say celebrities, but people with names. And here's why. Because in those groups of people, there are secret societies. Secret societies. And we're not just talking about the Illuminati. We're talking about unnamed type secret societies. And there's people in these secret societies that are doing things that's unheard of. They are doing things that's unheard of. Let me tell you something, beloved. When I was over in the Philippines, there was 70-year-old white men. 70-year-old white men dating 18-year-old. I'm not making this up. If I'm lying, I'm dying. Okay? There's 70-year-old white men with all this money that go over to the Philippines to date an 18-year-old girl. And I'll even go further than that, to date 16-year-old girls. When I was in the Philippines, I had a man come up to me. I was riding on my moped, my scooter, and I had a man come up to me, and he asked me if I wanted the girlfriend. And I said, no, I don't want a girlfriend. I'm not fabricating this story at all. I said, no, I'm good. I don't want a girlfriend. But the man that I ran into him I stopped on the side of the road to like check something in my bag. I had my bag on me, and I was driving on a moped in the Philippines, and I happened to stop in front of this man's house on the side of the road. And he came out. He was like, you know, all smiles. Hey, how can I help you? I was like, I'm good. I'm just really checking my bag right now. But, you know, I'm headed back to my, you know, my room or whatever. It was like, you want a girlfriend? I said, no, I don't want no girlfriend. But anyhow, we started talking. And somehow one thing led to another. We ended up at a house that he told me to follow him to. So I followed him to this house. And if I'm not clarifying enough of the details for you, it's because I truly forgot some of the story. How I ended up following this man. It's not because I'm trying to cover anything. It's simply because I forgot a lot of the conversation in the story and how. But I do remember vividly him asking me if I wanted a girlfriend, and I said no. And somehow we started talking, and I ended up following him to this house. I don't know what the conversation was really. I can't remember what the conversation was about. So I ended up following him to this house. And at this house was this mother and this young girl. Okay? I'm giving you this for context. The mother brings the daughter out. And I'm confused because I'm looking at this man that brought me here, and I'm like, what's going on? I'm like, what am I doing here? You understand? And he was like, this is girl. You can have her for your wife. I said, no, I don't want her. I'm good. But I asked her, I said, curiosity killed me. How old is she? She was 16. And so he told me, at least he had some morality to it, because he said, you can have her for your wife, but you cannot have her till she's 18. I said, what? For real? Is this real? Like, is this real? You know, he was basically saying you can have her as your wife now, but you can't have her, have sex until you're 18. And I was like, is this real? Like, for real? You serious about this? Like, because I didn't know that this is what they do there. So I'm like, this is serious? He's like, yeah. I was like, and I'm looking at the mom, I'm kind of confused. I'm like, for real? Like, you pimping your daughter out? In my mind, I'm thinking, this what y'all do. And the mom was sitting there like, okay with this whole thing. And I'm like, nah, bro, I'm good. I got on my scooter and I went the other way, because I want to know parts of that. So what am I saying that for? Why am I telling you that little story? For context. I'm telling you that story for context, because I want you to understand that the mindset of these men that go over to these other countries and sleep with young girls in these brothels, in these sex homes. I was in the Philippines on a spiritual journey. You understand? I was there for a spiritual awakening, a journey. But there's white men, 70-year-old white men, because all I saw was white men. I'm not saying there's no other race, but all I saw was white men. And there's 70-year-old white men that go over to these type of countries and get with young girls. 16, 17, 18-year-old girls. And they're marrying these girls, bringing them back home with them, because the girl, and the way that they do it in the Philippines is, you marry money, the money takes care of the family. So these 70-year-old men go over and marry these girls and take these girls back to their country with them, and then they take care of the whole family. But why are these white men marrying these girls? For two reasons. One, because they're sick. Two, because once you marry into a Filipino, just like here in America, now you can buy land. Now you can buy land through her. You can buy land through her and own land simply because you're married to her. So they go over there to marry young, buy land, to own land. Now I'm still giving you context here. The reason for this sickness is, the reason this is a sick thing is because I met many old men over there, 70-year-old men, 80-year-old men with a 30-year-old wife, because he married her when she was 17 and he was 40. Okay? And so the context in this story about Brother Polight is this. We're finding people with money. And do he got money? I'm not saying he do. I'm not saying he don't. What I'm saying is this. When you get into these different type of circles and arenas where you're hanging out with different type of affluencers, not influencers, affluencers, people with some money, affluent type people, then you start to find yourself in rings and in circles where these things are the norm. These things are the norm. And the psychology behind the people of these affluencers, the psychology behind the influencers is, because this is the norm, there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with that. Why is that? Because once you get up to the upper echelons in status in society, you start to lose your consciousness. This is real stuff. Not everybody. I'm not saying everybody. I'm saying people like a Brother Polight who come from nothing, built this way up, and he finds himself in these circles where he's with these type of people, you start to do things you didn't think you would do on the level when you were broken, busted. Now you rich and disgusted. You were broken, busted. Now you rich and disgusted. And so what happens is you do disgusting things. You're not disgusted by them. You do disgusting things now. And so what's happening on these levels of affluence, not influence, but affluence, people with money, is they start to do things. And this is in politics. See, in politics, what they engage in is war. And so they do things on that level that they didn't think they would do on this level down here with the rest of us. And that's because once you get money, you get power. And once you get power, we call it, you start to lose some sense of egoism or ego. You start to get some ego, right? Your head start to get big. But once you start to get a little bit of power, what ends up happening, beloved, is you lose yourself. You lose your consciousness. You lose contact with yourself. And this is the psychology. Now, there's rapists and pedophiles on this level too. There's rapists and pedophiles on this level too. You don't have to be affluent to be a rapist. You don't have to be affluent to be a pedophile. You don't have to be affluent. There's people who are on this level, rapists and pedophiles, and they ain't got a dime to their name. But there's also people who are racists and pedophiles with power and money. And so the psychology behind these type of people, like a brother Polight, is that you start to see things, you get up in that type of status, you start to see things you never thought you would see. You start to see things you didn't think you would be privy to. And they look at it like, they say in their circles, this is normal. Sniffing cocaine is normal. Everybody does it. So you do it. Having sex with young boys and young girls and raping women, that's normal. So you're in a circle where you feel like you're protected amongst people who call this the norm, and you go and do things that you think is normal, and next thing you know, you can get away with a lot. That's why, what's his name? Epstein? What's the guy's name? Something Epstein. Why you think he's dead? Not because he blew the whistle, but because he got caught. He got caught. I forget the guy's name. Something Epstein, if y'all remember the name. Put it in the chat. And so this guy Epstein, he got caught. It's not that he blew the whistle, it's just that he got caught. And so you're going to see what happens to a brother Polight. A brother Polight is going to get outcast from his circles, because if they continue to accept him being that this is who he is, just like with the baby, when the baby came out about the HIV comment and stuff, if they continue to accept the baby, then you condone, even if he's not guilty yet. If they continue to accept the baby, then you condone what he said. And so you're going to see Brother Polight, and this is how you'll know if he's guilty. When they outcast him. When they outcast him. And you're going to see all those celebrities he hang around, when they outcast him, then you know he really did some stuff. Why? Because once you get caught, beloved, it's kind of like when you are in the Marines. It's kind of like when you are in the Marines. Once if you are a black ops or a Navy SEAL or a special type of agent undercover, you go over to these other countries and you get caught being a spy, guess what? The United States government will deny all acknowledgement of you. We don't know that guy. Because if this government finds out that the United States government is spying on them, then they can plot an attack against the United States government. And so if you being a spy in another country for the U.S. government and you get caught, the government will deny any acknowledgement of who you are. Okay? And so if Brother Polight happens to go through that same thing where people start to deny him, deny access to him, deny him the right to be amongst them again, then you know he did something. Because they're not going to accept him back into those circles, knowing that him getting caught is him getting everybody else caught, and they can't run the risk of that. They can't run the risk of that. And so what happens in these hierarchy type of circles is, yes, pedophilia is going on. Raping of women is going on. It's the norm in their mindset. It's nothing wrong with it because they're seeing people in their own circle do it, and they're saying to themselves, this is normal. This is what they do. There's nothing wrong with it until you get caught. Till you get caught, then everything is wrong with it. Everything is wrong with it once you get caught. And they're going to out you, and they're going to outcast you, and you're no longer going to be a part of them. And once you get caught, beloved, the chips have fallen not in your favor. You're done. So, Brother Polight, I'm not here to bash him, but I'm here to say the psychology and the mindset behind these type of people is it's normal. It's normal in the circles we run in. It's normal. This happened in the Catholic Church. Priests. This is normal. This is what we do here. This is what we do in the Catholic Church. We sodomize little boys. It's normal. Have your way with one. In the Philippines, 70-year-old men marrying 18-year-old women is normal. That's what they do in the Philippines. Marry 80-year-old white men. It's normal. You're not doing anything wrong. You're not doing anything wrong. It's all justified. Because they're in poverty. They're trying to get their family out of poverty. So anything to get their family out of poverty. You understand? But the psychology behind the Brother Polight is that this is normal in the circles he run in. But down here, we still don't consider that normal. But up there, it's normal. That's normal to them. And you can say how wrong it is. It is wrong. Raping a woman is wrong. Sodomizing little boys is wrong. Being a child molester is wrong. On this level. Up there, I'm not saying it's right, but what I'm saying that up there, it's normal. This is the psychology behind that. Behind their mindset. It's normal. So what they do up there is not wrong because that's normal. But if me and you did it, it's wrong. And of course, it should be wrong. It should not be considered normal. Ever. Ever. It should never be considered normal. But in those circles, those things are normal. And so a Brother Polight found himself in a different boat. He found himself in a different boat. Because once he jumped out of the boat with us, he jumped in another boat with others. And he thought that he can ride the wave of still being a conscious leader, a conscious teacher, and still rock with people like that. No, bro. Nuh-uh. Because you put yourself in that place and in that position. Guess what you did? You put yourself in proximity of the abnormal things that they do. Or not abnormal, but the low vibrational things that they do. You put yourself in proximity to that mess. You put yourself in proximity to that ratchetness. You put yourself in proximity to that. And when you do that, you are putting yourself in once you jumped out of the boat with us, you jumped into the boat with them who consider themselves not a part of who we are anymore. They don't consider themselves a part of us anymore. Those down here. And I'm not one that's here to say I'm on the low totem pole of the scale. But what I'm saying is this. I'm not saying that I'm a broke bum on a low totem pole and everybody down here is broke, poor, busted, and disgusted. No. It's just that everyone down here doesn't do everything for money, and power. We don't do everything for money and power. We don't do that. We don't do everything for money and power. Some things we do is for righteousness. And so a lot of these teachers came into the circle and started to wake us up. Brother Polight came into the circle, started to speak on spirituality and speak on the science of what is going on with ourselves. And he woke a lot of people up to the knowledge. You understand? But he always has some accusation against him. And we still got other brothers out there that's doing the same mess. Not exactly raping women like he did, but doing the same mess by preaching the same message. Doing the same mess by getting your money. Doing what the pastors did to you. Doing the same mess by getting you for your energy, draining you and telling you, follow me, follow me, follow me. This is the way to the promised land. No more. No more do we need to follow anybody else. I got a video coming up. Later on. I'll give you a sneak peek. I got a video coming up later on this topic. You can only save you. But we're not going to get into that right now. So let's keep it where it's supposed to be at. And so this is where we're at right now. This is where we're at. We're in a space where pedophilia and raping women, remember? Bill Cosby, R. Kelly, Mystical, even Mike Tyson. You understand what I'm saying? And so if Brother Polight is found guilty of this charge, Mystical did 6 years behind the rape charge. Mike Tyson did 5 years behind the rape charge. If Brother Polight is found guilty, how much time do you think he's going to get? If Mike Tyson got 5 years for rape, if Mike Tyson got 5 years, a man who had all the money in the world at the time, if Mike Tyson got 5 years, what you think they're going to give Brother Polight? He's looking at a minimum 15 years. Not 5, but 15. He's looking at a minimum of 15 years. Because not only did he allegedly rape the girl, but he also allegedly got her intoxicated. And so they're going to look at him as a predator. A monster, a predator. Someone who preyed on this little girl. Brother Polight, if you get this video, I'm here to tell you right now, bro. If you see this video, because I know you watch the internet a lot, and you look up everyone who tags your name. If you see this video, I'm here to just give you my own 2 cents. And I want to say this, preface this before I say what I really want to say. Brother Polight, get yourself and your family stabilized. The problem is you do a lot of moving around. You do way too much moving. And because of that, because you do a lot of moving around, and I watch you, I follow you, because you do a lot of moving around, what you are then doing is you are subjecting yourself and opening yourself up to more spiritual entities coming in. Demonic spirits and forces coming in. And this is what happens. This is what can happen when you are not really setting a foundation. That's the first part. The second part I want to say is, with all of that money that you collected from black people, proclaiming to teach them about real estate and stocks and all that other stuff. With all of that money that you've gotten from making these, from teaching, saying that you wrote 90 books. I would love to see these 90 books. I haven't seen one book from you yet, but I would love to see at least one. You say you wrote 90. I would love to see at least one book. But you say you wrote 90, so okay. I really would love to see that. But you said that, you helping people. You helping your people. You helping your people by educating them on stocks. And you're helping your people by investing in real estate. And so you got a lot of people that are looking at you now. And you got all this money that you've gotten from the people. My second point is this. You need to take that money, bro. Not only sit still, get you and your family stabilized and stop moving so much, but you need to also take that money that you've gotten and you need to actually build something with that money. Go and establish something with that money so that the people who follow you, so that the people who listen to you, the people can be led righteously. Once again, righteously. Stop trying to be, and this is to all conscious teachers, stop trying to wake people up through this conscious teaching, this conscious, calling yourself a conscious teacher. Stop trying to wake people up. The best way of waking up is not Folgers in your cup. Okay? I had to go there with that. The best way of waking up is showing people. See, you do too much flashing, and I gotta speak to you right now. You do too much flashing your Jews. Listen, nothing wrong with a little bit of Jews here, a little bit of nothing wrong with having things, okay? But you do too much showing it off. But you've not shown us. And this is, I'm speaking to the people. Not brother, I'm speaking to Brother Polight, but I'm speaking through you now, not to you. I'm speaking through you now to the people. Stop looking at these type of people who have not and are not establishing some type of foundation for themselves and others. The best way to see someone doing something very real is to listen. Every Friday, I have a kitchen that I work in. Every Friday, I go to my kitchen and I feed over 100 and something plus people every week. You understand? I have something established. To where if I'm I live what I preach. If I'm speaking on helping you wake up naturally and holistically to yourself on a spiritual, mental, physiological, biological, and emotional level, then I got to teach you, show you, help you understand how you do that. And that is through the 5 laws: meditation, fitness, nature, nutrition, and arts. If we start to, and I show you through videos, I post videos of me doing all these things, meditating, I show you videos of me cooking, I show you videos of my food, nature, nutrition, me out in the elements, doing all the things that I preach. I live what I preach. I'm not here to say to you that I'm the teacher or I'm the one you should be listening to. I'm your coach. I'm your guru. I'm not none of that. I'm not none of that. I got to speak to my people now. And I want you to wake up. I need you to hear me because I'm still speaking to you, Brother Polight, but I'm going to speak through you a little bit to the people. But let me say this once again to Brother Polight. Brother Polight, if you so happen to get out of this, now I don't know what's going to happen. I don't want to speculate. But if you so happen to get out of this mess that you find yourself in, brother, I'm telling you, word of advice. Number 1, stop moving around and go and establish something real quick. Take the money you've gotten and stop. You got to show off. Every time we see you, you got a different car. Now that tells me that you're not buying none of these cars. You're not buying none of these cars. You in the Rolls Royce, you in the Lambo, you in the Ghost, you in the Phantom. Every time we see you on social media, you're in a different vehicle. So that tells me that you're not buying all those vehicles. But you're doing this to show off and flash a little bit. But the fact of the matter is, that's not living, my bro. You're not really living. You're not really living. That's not living. That's not living. Every time you show up, you got a different vehicle. Bro, get something established. And you need to refer to a video. Go to my video, Land, Laws, and Language, over on YouTube at Ghadbody on YouTube. And listen to the video, Land, Laws, and Language. Okay? So you need to be establishing something for yourself. You're not teaching people how to live on a holistic level. Or at least you're not giving them. You see what Dr. Sebi did? Dr. Sebi not only taught it, but Dr. Sebi built it. He didn't only teach it, he built it. And because he built it, he allowed you to join him on the journey. And so I have established for myself the dream and the vision, I would say, not the dream, but the vision, to do similar things as Dr. Sebi did. Am I saying I'm your healer? No, what I'm saying is I want you to come and be amongst us who are healed. And so you can get healed just by being amongst the healed. You get healed being amongst the healed. You get sick being amongst the sick. And Brother Polight, right now, I got to speak truth to you. You are amongst the sick. You are amongst the sick-minded. You are amongst the sick people who do sick things. Okay? And you need to get somewhere with your family. You got a wife, you got a couple wives, and you got children. The best thing you should do is sit down, be still, and establish for you and your family a lifestyle. Now take all that money you keep flashing. You see, that money ain't saving you from the mess you find yourself in. That money ain't what's stopping right now these videos that's being done on you. That money ain't, look, that money cannot save you. Bill Cosby's money couldn't save him. Mike Tyson's money couldn't save him. Money cannot save you, bro. And so you need to do one thing. Number one, go away with your family. And I'm not saying you have to get off of social media, but get from out of these circles and be a man, bro. Be a man. Be a man. Because I have to call it like I see it. Right now, you're not a man, bro. You're not a man because you have nothing established. You have nothing established. And for a man must establish for himself land, laws, and language. He must establish for himself these things. This is nature's way. And so you need to go away and establish for yourself land, laws, and language. And language isn't like creating your own new dialect, but it's creating your own message that you will stand and live by. I have my own message that I stand and I live by. I stand by my message and I live by my message. So that's my language. My language is the 5 laws of holistics, the 5 states of internal well-being. That's my language. That's what I speak. That's what I teach. That's what I live. That's what I help others gain an understanding of. And so you have to go and establish land laws. The only thing I'm missing right now is land, but I'm working on that, and we're in the process of that. So I have land, I have laws. Now I have laws, I have language. Now I'm getting land. Okay? The only thing missing from the repertoire. But a man establishes something for himself first. So number one, you got to go and establish something, bro. And you're not a man until you do. You're not a man until you establish something, because you got a family. You got a family, my G. You got a family, so you need to go and establish something because you got a family. Number one. Number two, you need to take that money and establish something for the people that you've built yourself up off of. Establish something for them. If you're going to lead, then establish something. And I'm speaking to all of these conscious teachers. All of these conscious teachers. I'm speaking to all of you conscious teachers. Stop coming out here teaching what you think is best for a person through, what belief they should believe in, picking up a certain belief, and you don't have nothing behind you. You don't have no space where people can come and be guided up under you. You don't have no place where people can come and sit and be healed with you. You don't have none of that. You don't have no institution. You don't have nothing that people can come. And I'm speaking about all of these teachers. They come out here and they speak about being this and being that. But all you see them do is take the money they get from you and buy nice homes, buy nice fast cars. I've seen them all do it. All of them are doing it. All of them have done it. So we cannot be leaning upon these teachers anymore. This video is not about me bashing Brother Polight. I'm just talking to Brother Polight on the issues of the mindset of pedophilia and my thoughts on pedophiles. Let me give my synopsis and conclusion on pedophiles. To me, I'm like, there's a G code in prison. There's a G code in prison. Prison, you cannot go to prison for two things. You cannot go to prison for killing your own parents. You cannot go to prison for killing your own parents. Cardinal sin number one, going to prison is if you go to prison for killing your own parents and anything with a child or a minor. If you go to prison for anything with a child, beating a child, killing a child, raping a child, molesting a child, sodomizing a child, whatever you want. If you go to jail for any of those things, you might as well you might as well go in, you know what I'm saying, and look to be put in the hole, my dude, because you are not going to be able to survive in general population in prison. You're not going to be able to survive in general population in prison. So the best thing for you to do is pray and hope that you're not guilty of this. Because you're not going to make a good inmate in prison if you go to prison for doing this with a minor. Now, my 2 cents on my conclusion on pedophiles. For all pedophiles, I think that all pedophiles should be dealt with by the people. Not by the courts, but by the people. I think all pedophiles should be dealt with. I think it should be, if we're going to live by laws, I think it should be legal for pedophiles to be dealt with by the people. I saw a video. I'm going to get a little graphic real quick. Excuse me if I bother you with this. I was in Dominica in September. I was in the island of Dominica. And this lady showed me a video of this man in a pool with a little boy, having sex with this little boy. I'm sorry to get graphic, but this lady showed me this video when I was in Dominica. And it's kind of like the black internet, not the black internet, but the black market, it's the dark web. And she showed me this video from the dark web. She was like, look at this sick mother, lady talking in her language. And so I see this video and I'm like, oh my God, why'd you show me that? I don't want to see that. But she told me to keep watching. She said, keep watching. So I kept watching. I wasn't watching the part where he was sodomizing this little boy. But I watched what happened after. The people came, and this was in some Indian country. This was in like India or some Asian. This was either in some Asian. This was like in some Asian country, like Malaysia or Cambodia, somewhere. This was in an Asian country or an Indian country, one of those two. And they drugged this man out of the pool, beat him to death, and drug him to burn his body. I'm just saying, my thoughts on pedophiles, raping, taking the innocence of a child, taking the innocence, robbing the innocence, and taking a woman's, you understand, essence without consent. Robbing a woman of her essence and robbing a child of their innocence is probably the worst thing you can do to a minor. It's robbing them of their innocence and their essence. Because what you do is you rob them of their spirit. You break their spirit early on, but you're robbing them of the pure child that's inside. You rob them of the pure child that sleeps within them. That child that even when they become an adult, they can still go to, tap into, and be able to have this. They would be able to go to that child as a place of refuge to look for happiness within. But most people cannot go to their inner child. Some people that get robbed of their innocence, when they become adults, they cannot go to their inner child to seek happiness and peace. Because you rob them of their innocence as a child. And when you rob a child of their innocence, when you rob a young lady of her essence, you rob them and you steal a piece of their soul. And so they cannot refer back to their inner child when they become adults. And this is why we're dealing with broken adults now today. This is why we're still dealing with adults who are traumatized today. Because most of those adults that are traumatized, this is my psychoanalysis on traumatized adults, on pedophiles, is that when you do this to a child, what you're doing to the adult later on in life is you're reaping trauma on their mind to the point where they cannot tap into their inner child. They cannot tap into their inner child anymore because you took that from them. And when they want to go to their inner child, it's not a safe place anymore. It's not a sacred place anymore. It's not a refuge place anymore. It's not a refuge place. A 14-year-old girl is still a child. She's still a child. A baby, mentally and emotionally, she's still a child. And so when you rob her of that essence, when you rob a child of their innocence, bro, you deserve to be dealt with by the people. You deserve to be dealt with by the people, not the courts. The people should deal with you. The people. And I'm not saying they should kill you. I wouldn't condone us killing people. But I'm saying we should deal with you. And that's just my take. That's my thoughts on Brother Polight and pedophilia. Brother Polight, my advice, stop moving around so much, bro. Build or establish a foundation for you and your family. Number one. And number two, take that money that you keep flashing and go and establish something so that you can truly lead people. So that you can truly lead people. Number two. And my conclusion on pedophiles, my thoughts on pedophiles, is let the people deal with them. Because the mindset of a pedophile is they cannot be reformed. I don't believe pedophiles can be reformed. Because once you've done it, you've done it. It's not that if you do it, once you've done it, you'll continue to do it. It's the fact that once you've done it, you've done it. You cannot reform that. You cannot reform a pedophile once they've done it. It's not that because once they've done it, they'll continue to do it, but it's because you did it once. Simply because you did it once, you cannot be reformed. Because you did it once. You cannot be reformed from that, my G. You cannot be reformed from that. If you did it once, you cannot be reformed. All right? People should deal with you. Let the people deal with you. And that's what I would really hope. Is that Brother Polight said, yo, let the people deal with me. Because we're going to deal with you. We're going to deal with you. All right? Listen, I love you. I love me. I love us. Thank you for being here tonight. Oh, my. Brother. I hope you get well. Whether you did it or not, I just hope that you get well. From people beating you down about it or from you being guilty about it. I hope you get well. I love you. I love me. I love us. Be well, be loved, and be light, beloved. And always remember, live from the soul. That's the righteous place to live from. Okay, thank you for joining me. I am Omaka, your one and only true spiritual holistic healer, spiritual luminary, holistic healer, your eco warrior here to tackle on these issues of today, things that are unnatural, unsafe for us. I'm here to bring us nothing but truth to those things so that we stay living a healthy and holistic lifestyle. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Y'all be safe. Peace.